JD here, and as you can see by the title of this video, we are going to be having a little bit of a discussion here today, more specifically towards the 12th patch of the F1 23 installment. As you can see, the notes on the screen right here now has caused a bit of an uproar within the community, and I think for a pretty damn good series of reasons. First of all, it seemed to have changed the equal cars online. They are no longer equal, which for me is just absolutely mind-boggling. We've got F1 esports coming literally within a month's time around the corner, and the equal cars are broken. That just certainly does not look very good for the gaming developer, along with everyone's settings being completely set to default, so completely reset. I myself and every single person on every single platform, their wheel settings, camera settings, everything has been changed, and yeah. So today we are going to be testing this equal cars because a lot of leagues have decided to run the F1 World, the multiplayer car. I want to see if it's specifically for just online, if it's for time trial, Grand Prix mode, and how much of a difference this actually is, because there's a lot of people saying quite a few mixed things. So as we head on into this video here now, you'll see we're going to jump into the time trial first, and I will be showing you my settings because I have updated my camera and my wheel settings on the calibration. So that is something I will be showing to you right now. And again, as always, as you can see by the title of this video, and you can see on the screen here all my new settings, do you think Codemasters deserve to keep the license for this game? I know from a pretty reliable source that they do have a fairly long-term contract in place with F1 themselves. But for me, myself, having played the Codemasters F1 games for well over 10 years now, I just feel every single time there is an update, something just goes wrong. Whether that's with the handling, as we had on last year's game, they make changes. It's like a virtual Jenga. They take out one piece and then the rest just seems to all crumble. I just feel with the rise of F1 esports, F1 of how big it is as a sport, and the equal cars being changed like this, so close to an official F1 esports event, it's just not really acceptable. And with the game becoming more and more expensive year upon year, and we see many other developers such as the Assetto Corsa, people make Automobilista 2, which I believe is a Brazilian company, a very small company, can make games capable of this on that kind of scale. Does another developer deserve a crack of the whip? Or, like I've always said for many, many years now, why don't they have multiple developers join forces together, maybe working together in the same year, or rotating the responsibility year upon year, such as the Call of Duty franchise? Because I think with EA, and more specifically Codemasters, because EA are just really the publisher, they don't really have much influence within the game itself. I just feel they have had too many chances now, and I know I'm not the only one who's echoing it. So please put your thoughts down below, because I know for a fact that a lot of Codemasters and a lot of F1 esports people do watch YouTubers' videos, they do take the feedback, and I just think even for patches you saw by the notes that didn't really have any significant changes, to not even test it is just absolutely mind-boggling. And you can see here we're just jumping in the time trial, doing a few laps of each car. So I tried the Red Bull, exactly the same setup, equal performance, and the performance was fairly equal. I was actually going faster in the lower end cars if it was on realistic, so the performance definitely felt pretty much exactly the same. You can see in this Alfa Romeo here on track for a very low 25 as well. I was in the AlphaTauri, which is meant to be the slowest car now in the equal performance online, and ended up going fastest with this car in the time trial. So I can confirm time trial, there is absolutely no issues with this, but it does seem to be affecting just the online only. So I actually jumped into the Grand Prix mode itself, and you can see equal performance here, so no doubts about that whatsoever. But we then did jump to the Grand Prix mode, and we did a bit of a side-by-side comparison with the Red Bull and then the AlphaTauri, and you'll see with the Red Bull, see with the AlphaTauri there weren't really any differences whatsoever. But now we're going to be jumping online in equal cars, and yeah, I'll be showing you the full runs of each with a few differences between them after this. But yeah, this was set to equal performance, and for me, this just really is not acceptable whatsoever. I believe what's happened here is that the cars are now running on realistic performance rather than equal performance, and how does that even happen when you haven't specifically changed something to do with the equal cars? It's why we need a new game engine to start with, and for me, I have no ties with Codemasters. I just simply feel that they are not capable of developing this game. I believe for the amount of years they've had this F1 series for, I think a lot of new people, new fans, especially people from the States who are brand new fans of the sport, they may have not played the previous F1 games from Codemasters, and yeah, I think if you did, you would probably be expecting a lot more for how long they have actually held this series for. And you know, I don't think it's a good thing to say that probably some of the best games for me personally have been such as 2012, 2013, which I think were definitely well within its time, if not maybe slightly ahead. Games such as 2018, 2020 were really good, but all the other games, I think 22 last year was one of the worst F1 games I've personally ever played in terms of how it felt, the bugs that suffered from it. This game, I don't think has really been too bad so far, but there just, again, hasn't really been a huge amount of difference. I think the handling is slightly better. The setup configurations, there's a few more options there, but that's pretty much it. There's nothing really substantial. I think the career mode is not immersive enough. The online connectivity, the bugs with the safety car, the formation map, and just every time we have a patch, there seems to be something that goes wrong. It just doesn't give me any confidence with this developer that they are going to bring this series to a new level, because F1 is an absolutely huge sport, and with this being the official game, I feel like it should be on a whole different level compared to what it is. So again, let me know what your thoughts are of that, whether that's similar to what you think, or do you think there's something completely different? You know, I think it might even be where it should be in terms of how the game is. But yeah, this one here, you can see with the Red Bull doing a 30.2 on the first lap, not using any of the ERS, so I'm using my League Racing setup here. Whereas if you click that join button, I have uploaded in my YouTube members Discord. You can see we're doing a 27.2, so not too bad of a lap without the ERS, and we'll be able to see what the difference is when we try the AlphaTauri in equal performance. And yeah, it's quite worrying that we've had a bug like this so close to F1 esports. It's really should be the crown and jewel in terms of promotion for this game, and the fact that they might not even be able to use the equal cars is quite concerning indeed. But please let me know if you've encountered any other bugs. I think someone wrote in my last video a bit of a list where with the formation map, the safety car not being able to load the setup, and just looking at these patch notes itself, I just feel Codemasters again just do not listen to their community, because I think there was a huge issue with the AI for some quite considerable time. I think whether this game or the last game, and they didn't change the difficulty of it at all. They didn't make any adjustments, but as you can see in the patch notes, if you have a hoary steering wheel, then that has taken priority. Or if Ferrari changed their race suits, that becomes a complete priority rather than the fundamentals of the game itself. So coming across the line, this is a 127.2 again, so nice and consistent. And I think overall that was a 6 minute or 5 minute 24, and we'll be able to see just in a second, and we'll be comparing the total race time along with the actual race laps as well. So as we come to finish this, we'll have a little look. It is 4 minutes 24.7 with a 27.2. You can see lap times there, 30.2, 27.2 for both laps. And yeah, make sure you memorize that because yeah, let's see what the difference is now. So now we're in the AlphaTauri. This is equal settings, exactly the same setup, and pretty much immediately I felt like there was a lot more understeer in the car. So coming through to here, but into this left hand, I turn at the same point. Yeah, it's like a cargo ship going through there. So almost immediately I could feel the difference. It just felt like the car was just much heavier. Definitely didn't seem to be getting to that 8th gear quite as quick as I was in the Red Bull. So we won't know until the end of the first lap, but definitely going through this section, yeah, it just did not feel like it was anywhere near as pointy as the Red Bull. So coming through into Cops, let's see if we can take this flat out. It should be a fairly comfortable flat out, which we do fine, but not too much room for error there. Going through Maggots and Beckett's, this again will prove what the levels of downfall is. So going through it's not too bad, but then go for this right-hander. The car is really wanting to wash wide, and going through that second sector split, I could already see we were quite a bit down on what we did on the first lap with the Red Bull. So go through again, end of the hanger straight, really suffering with some understeer going through into there. Now going into this last chicane, doing that fairly well, and both of these attempts I felt like I drove at a pretty good level, and coming across the line, we are 1.4 seconds a lap slower than we did already with the Red Bull. So yeah, I think you can already see where this is going and why leagues are not running equal cars, because they are not equal. I'm sure that it's just realistic. If anyone has anything different, I did test the McLaren, Mercedes and other cars as well, and yeah, it seemed to be going down in a realistic fashion in terms of the cars, with the AlphaTauri, the Haas, the Williams being the slowest, and the Mercedes, Ferrari and Red Bull being the 3 quickest. But we'll be able to see at the second lap of how much of a difference that actually is. So again, going through Cops, doing that fairly okay, so it doesn't really feel too bad, but I think it's definitely more of the straight line speed where I was lacking the most. So going through here again, just being a little bit lethargic, just running out wide, just that little bit easier for those cords, and it's a 4.1 middle sector where we're normally doing a 3.3 middle sector. So quite a big difference, about 8/10 of a second so far. End of angle straight, we did this pretty well, couldn't have really done that any better. Going through into the final chicane, go down to third gear, a couple stabs at the steering wheel, really trying to get that traction as early as we possibly can, and going across the line, it's a 128.2. You can see the expression on my face there. Pretty shocked at that difference. And again, I'm actually impressed how this has happened from a patch where they didn't intend for this to happen. And I've been saying it for many years now. The game engine needs a complete refresh. It needs to be deleted, put in the scrap bin, and start again. And I just think right now Codemasters are not capable of doing this, and I think they would need more than 1 year to do this as well. And in a way I do sympathise, because I think when they're releasing a game such as F123, they're probably already making F124 right now. But you say making, but for the last few years the game hasn't felt new. It felt like there's just been livery updates and audio updates and handling updates, and that's it. There hasn't really been much else added. So what have they really been working on? And with this contract, they're going to be getting paid a lot of money, charging people a lot of money as well to purchase this game. The Champions Edition is up to almost 80 quid at times, and a lot of people in last year's game, I remember specifically, who ordered that Championship Edition on PC, the early access didn't even work when it came to that. And if you just look at their Twitter, the communication with the community, they need to be listening to this community much more. And I think, again, that last lap, it was a 28.2, 28.3. And for me, shaking my head there, I don't enjoy saying this. I've been playing the F1 games for many, many years now. I do coaching on the F1 games. It's been a big, big part of my life. But it is just so frustrating that we are still suffering with a game like this. And you can see 4 minutes 28. It's almost 4 seconds slower than what we did with the Red Bull. And you can see those times there. And I'll pop on your screen right here now just a couple of comparisons in the same corner. It was mainly the straight line speed. I could get the throttle at the same point, but it was mainly the straight line speed. You can see the cornering speed is a little bit different as well, but it is definitely running on realistic settings. And I just really, really want to hear your thoughts. What needs to be done in the future to take F1 esports, and just the official F1 game as a whole to a whole new level? Because at the moment, I just feel this just really is not acceptable. Please let me know your thoughts down below, and I will catch you very, very soon. Peace.